did you? I don't know.
Oh, you put me on the spot?
Yeah, did you get some snow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, they got some snow, so it's coming down here in the warmth. That seemed apt to me for some reason. Please put your hands together for David Ennis.
Woo! Ennis.
Ennis?
Sound it out.
Ennis.
Sound it out.
Ennis?
It's anus.
Anus.
It was anus in high school. So this is my second time doing, I'm David Ennis. This is my second time doing this. I did it a couple weeks ago for the first time. I filmed it, and I thought I was doing pretty good. People had their cameras out, and they were filming it, and then I realized they were filming the people getting trampled trying to get out of here. So I'm the kind of guy that likes to push the envelope. I once had an erection that lasted 3 hours and 59 minutes. I was out in front of that hospital dancing. I don't need you. I'm going to save some money. That hooker was pissed. She had a mouth on her for a 13-year-old. I was once bullied on Facebook for bullying myself, for being bullied as a child. And I couldn't stop beating myself up about it. So I went to the seminar and I filled out the sign-in sheet, and they said, no, you're at the wrong place. This is for people who are bullied on Facebook for bullying themselves for being bullied by a child. So I just called them a bunch of sissies and left. I've been thinking, if we could breathe nitrous oxide instead of oxygen, we'd all get along better. But things would be different. Marion would ask me, why are you laughing? Because I'm breathing. Well, what's so funny? Everything. And drugs would be different. This is some good shit. It made me not laugh like a motherfucker. You know, pot is different now than it was back then. Back then, you'd smoke a joint and have to pretend it was a cigarette. Now you smoke a cigarette and you got to pretend it's a joint. Back then you used to try to see how much weed you could smoke. Now you got to see how much weed you can't smoke. They didn't have any weights and measures back then. They were kind of, well, they had them, but they were going to switch to metric, and then they were going to teach you metric, and then it said screw metric. Everybody else said, well, we're going to go to metric, and we said screw metric, and they said, well, you can bomb the shit out of us, so we're not going metric. So everything was measured in fingers. And I can make, it had to be 4 fingers. That thing, you could see through it. I'd build a scaffolding inside that thing with stems and throw some seeds in there. I'd say, that's 4 fingers. Don't look at it that way. That's 4 fingers. And if you quit smoking weed, which I do all the time, you have dope dreams. And they're in context. So back then I'd have a dope dream. I'd have me a 4-finger ounce, and that thing was this long. A guy's driving down the street in Colorado. Cop pulls him over. He says, you're weaving all over the place. Are you texting and driving? He says, no, I'm rolling a joint. Since when is that against the law? Cop says, well, you know anything about football? Well, pass that thing. I drive a taxi because that's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. I said, I want to grow up and be a taxi. I said, you can be a doctor or a lawyer. No, I want to be a taxi driver. And I was driving down the road, and it comes on the little computer thing that's on your phone, and it said, Muhammad and Abdul, pick them up. So I'm driving, I see a bunch of ladies, and I see Muhammad and Abdul, and I'm thinking, man, if I pull up now, they're going to know I'm racial profiling. What the hell? I mean, I know Abdul's wearing his Birkenstock t-shirt, and Muhammad's wearing his, I went to Mecca, and all I got was this t-shirt, and I'm thinking, they're tired of being racially profiled. So I just ran them over. You know, they need to do something about this. I'm usually not political, but they need to do something about the Social Security. I don't know how people are supposed to survive on it. They give them that check, and you can't survive on that. There was a time
I could knock a little old lady upside the head and snatch her purse and feed my family for a whole month. Now I'm living a little old lady's a little old lady. They need to do something. All right, I know you've had time to stew about it, but you 49ers fans, you have that old standby argument. And now it just works for everything. This guy's in court on an attempted murder and kidnapping charge. The judge says, "How do you plead?" The guy says, "Montana to Clark, Your Honor." "Did you just say Montana to Clark?" "Yes, Your Honor, Montana to Clark." "Bailiff, high five this man. And I want knucks, side knucks, and a double pump chest butt." And that bailiff had hops for a 70-year-old white guy. And the judge says, "There's no crime. There's no time, and I want to put on the record that you are so fine." So the next guy comes up, and the judge says, "How do you plead?" "Aikman and Novacek, several times." "Bailiff, stomp on his head." And like I said, the bailiff had hops for a 70-year-old white guy. Now I gotta pull out all the nasty stuff. All right. I promised Marion I wouldn't be nasty and crude, so I'm gonna be nasty and crude. All right, I was feeling lonely and depressed, and I went to the doctor, and I didn't like what he had to say, so I said, "I want you to put me a vagina in right here." So he put one in, and I named her Left Thigh Lopez. And he said, "You treat her with TLC, and she'll give you years of pleasure." So I got Left Thigh over here, and so now when somebody tells me to screw off, I can say, "I don't mind if I do." And I ain't got to go nowhere. And I got the upgrade. I got the self-cleaning model, because anything else would be just gay. And it'll talk to you. It talks to you. But it talks like the navigation lady. So now every time I use navigation, I steer that thing at 10, 2, and 6. And the DMV is a breeze. I'll be in there and they'll call number 7 and I'll say, "I got number 8. Who wants it? Who wants it?" But I was standing there and the girl said, "You got to use the bathroom?" "I couldn't if I wanted to." And she says, "You know, I like a man that stands like there and does that. Women are crazy. They'll take anybody." She says, "You know, I'm bisexual." And I said, "Well, I'm just your man." And she says, "Well, what's that smell?" I said, "I got the upgrade." I got the upgrade. What was I going to say? Is my 10 minutes up yet?
No, it's done 8 minutes.
Mercy. Time flies when you're stinking it up. Okay. I was wondering if a depressed comic had a heckler. So the depressed comic comes up. "I'm David Ennis. Take my life, please." "Hey, David Ennis, you suck." "I know." Giant Prozac walks into the bar. "Bartender says David Ennis sucks, and he's stinking it up at Cafe Flow. He's got a comic genius as a hackler, ripping you a new one." "I know." "My doctor was fingering that when he was checking my blood for blood in my stool." "I know. Thank you."
All right, David.